Welcome to the spreadsheet. Thank you for taking the time to go over this with me. If you haven't already spent the time to watch the training videos on the classroom, I strongly suggest that you watch that first, as you would get a better foundation and understanding of how we calculate the numbers in this spreadsheet. This is just a tool, and I encourage you to use your best judgment and to use your own calculations and not rely solely on this when making any decisions. This is just a very rough outline and a simple tool that will help you make a 15-second decision on a property. Let's get started. The spreadsheet is fairly straightforward. All you have to do is enter your information in the yellow boxes. The rest of the spreadsheet is not selectable, so it prevents you from inadvertently changing or modifying any formulas that are built in. Okay, let's run through a very simple example and you'll see how this operates. Let's assume we have a 30 unit complex, and also for simplicity's sake, let's assume that all the units have the same rent of $800 per month. As you can see, the spreadsheet automatically calculates that your annualized gross potential rent is $288,000. Now it's also telling you that your net operating income is $288,000. And that is because we haven't told the spreadsheet what your expense ratio for this property will be. The training says that they like to use a 50% expense ratio. However, I'm a little bit more conservative, and I generally tend to favor a 55% expense ratio. The higher this number is, the more you're estimating your costs will be to own and operate that property. So 50% is a good rule of thumb. I use 55%. Most of the properties that we are looking to purchase are going to be in this general range. Using the 55% expense ratio, we can see that the net operating income is calculated at 129,600. This is automatically doing the math for you, and basically 129,600 is 45% of $288,000. So this is your net operating income. Now, most of the properties that we look at are going to be somewhere in the 4 to 8 or 9 cap. Again, look at the property that you're interested in, talk to the broker, do a little market research, and enter here the cap rate that your property would trade at. Let's assume a 6 cap. And once again, the spreadsheet does the calculations for you. And now, as you can see, it's telling you that the stabilized value for the property is $2.16 million. So this is what the property would be worth if it was 100% occupied and everybody was paying $800 per month, which is the market rent in the area. Now, we don't want to buy a property at 100% of market value. That doesn't help us to build equity. So as discussed in the training, they use a 22% discount rate, which I think is pretty fair. So in this field here, you would enter 22% as the desired discount rate, or how much money in equity or how much equity you want in the property. Using that figure, we see that the market cost basis would be $1.684 million approximately. We tend to also favor properties that are forced appreciation or value add prospects. And so in this instance, let's just assume that we want to renovate the building to get higher rents, and that the renovation cost is going to be approximately $100,000. As you can see here, it automatically calculated that your maximum allowable offer should be $1.584 million. Now, if you have the asking price, you would enter the asking price in the yellow box down here. Since this is a magic napkin, it will automatically tell you whether or not this is a good deal. So let's see what we come up with. Let's assume the seller is asking $1.6 million. voila. The napkin tells you that this is a smoking deal and that you should move quickly. The asking price is very close to the maximum allowable offer. And so this is a deal that you definitely don't want to pass up on, provided all the other items check the boxes and you can make this deal work. Now, let's assume that the seller is a little bit more aggressive in their asking price and they're asking for $1.8 million. Okay, as you can see, this is still a solid deal and you should likely keep going because there's a good opportunity here to capitalize on. Okay, let's assume that the seller is even more aggressive and they're asking $2.1 million. Okay, so this is on the edge. The ratio is such that it really doesn't look like a great deal. And unless there is a significant room to negotiate on the asking price, likely will not be something that makes sense to move forward on. Again, this is just a very quick and rough estimate. If you have a very robust pipeline and you have a bunch of opportunities that you can look at in as an alternate to this property, then maybe that's a better consideration of your time than to continue forward with this one. All right, now let's assume that the seller is extremely aggressive and asking $2.35 million for this property. Well, Magic Napkin says you better run and run fast. There is really not a whole lot of room here, and likely this property is way overpriced. And at this time, unless the seller has some really, really motivated reason to drop the price, this is not a property that would make sense to continue to pursue. So there you have it, Magic Napkin. It tells you all you need to know. This recording took a little bit over 8 minutes, and likely you should be able to do this in about 15 to 30 seconds because most of this will be pre-filled. You just have to enter the number of units and the rent. You can leave the expense ratio, cap rate, and discount rate fixed for your particular appetite for risk. And so you really only would have to fill in about 4 different values to get a really quick analysis of the property that you're evaluating. I hope you like this little presentation and look forward to more presentations with a more detailed analysis with cost breakdowns and so on. Thank you for watching.